Hi, it's Steffi from Steffi's Beads and Baubles, and I was going to show you today how to make these cute little candy canes out of materials you might actually have on hand. Pipe cleaners, ribbon, and little pom-poms. If you have any Christmas pom-poms, these are a great thing to make. And you can do them in other colors as well. If you can get some pretty like ice blue or even a dark blue, even the small, let me show you, the small gold ones. Those would even work if you really wanted to make a candy cane out of those. I prefer to use the reds and greens, but it's truly a personal preference. Now for this project, I would use a thicker, fluffier pipe cleaner. This is a much thinner pipe cleaner, and I'm not saying it would not work, but I think the fluffier the pipe cleaner, the more grip you have for your puffs. And I would not use metallic. It's not sturdy enough, and it's certainly not thick enough. So I would go with whatever color you want. I'm using red for a red and white candy cane. And then for your very first one, what I would recommend is folding it in half like this, making sure your edges are straight, and then get it folded down at the end. And you're going to twist it up and just make it kind of look like this. Then what you're going to do is you're going to form your candy cane. Now this is for your first one because everybody's going to be doing something a little different. You may not have puffs this small. Yours might be slightly bigger. So what I would suggest is to start with the shape you like and leave the, actually I did that backwards. Normally I would do that because I like to have this at the top. But for your very first one, do the opposite because you want to be able to, and I'll show you why. I'll show you why to do that, the opposite. But normally I put the fold at the top. But for this very first one you're going to do, put the fold at the bottom, and I'll show you why. So now once you have your candy cane all folded and you like the shape of it, then you're going to start putting your pom-poms on. And I used 5 red and 5 of the white. So I like to start with the red, but you can certainly start with whichever one you'd rather. And I'm just going to put a dot of the hot glue on here. And I use a mini gun. I think I own a big gun that finally I got one somewhere, but I have not used it. The little ones are mean enough, but I have a big one in case I need it for something. Now if it's your first time working with a glue gun, then you might want to wait and let that dry for a minute. But if you're an old pro and you know how to do it, or you've got finger protection, for your second one, you're going to put it a little bit on the side and then a little bit on the pipe cleaner. And then you're going to put your white, and you're going to shove it up as tight as you can against the red. Now you can see these two are a little bit different sizes. It's just some of them are just off size. That one's a little bigger than normal. While it's still wet, I'm going to pull that off and try a slightly smaller one because I don't like that. And it was out of the same jar, but I think maybe I put one that was a little too big in there. Much better. It's still a little bit bigger than the red, but if you put it against the pom-pom and against the pipe cleaner, you can see how it really holds it nice. And it's okay if one's slightly bigger than the other as long as all the reds are the same size and all the whites are the same size. Like this one's way smaller than the rest of them, so I won't use that one. So I'll pull another one out. Now that one's way bigger. I'm trying to think I guess I was getting them out of this jar here. Also another thing to pay attention to, and I'll show you real quick, is the glitter on it. See how much glitter is on this one? You may pick up one that looks a little more bare. This one's not too bad. But once in a while you'll pick one up and like this one has way more glitter on it. And you want to use the most glittery ones you have. So now once that one's dried for a second, you're going to do the same thing. Now watch the angle of the candy cane. You're going to hit the side facing where you're going and then slightly under. And then you're going to put on the next one, again pushing up against as hard as you can, and down like that. That way it's being secured and it won't flip around. Now you're going to do it again, and you're going to keep doing this. And just taking it around the edge as you go. And see, that one's not as pretty as it could be, but I'm not going to worry about it for the sake of this video. You're just going to keep going the direction of the pipe cleaner. Like that. And again, you're just going to put it on the side. Don't worry about the strings. Obviously, if you're a seasoned pro with the pipe cleaner, with the glue gun, you know not to worry about it. But if you're new to glue guns, strings are strings. They're going to happen. You just wait till you're done, and then they'll easily pull off. Make sure you get it on the side there. And just keep pushing it up really tight up against the one in front of it, and then down onto the pipe cleaner. And if you get a little bit on the back, you're going to see the strings. Like I said, don't worry. As long as you don't glop too much, the back should look fine. And that just comes really with practice. I'll show you the first one I made. I kind of made a mess because I was kind of out of practice. Now you're going to do this till you get to where you want to stop. Now I'd like to do 5 of each pom-pom, so I'm going to put one more on here. One more white one. Like that. Now, the reason I had you put the fold on the bottom for your very first one is that you can do this. You can take your wire cutters, you can get up in here and clip right at the edge. Now, what that does is it gives you how much you have left over. And you just straighten that out as best you can. I have to twist it a little bit, get that straightened out. Then for your next one, all you have to do is grab your pipe cleaner, and you just cut off that much, as I did here on mine. So you just cut off the amount you don't need, and then the next one you fold. When you fold it, you can put the rounded part at the top where I really like to have it, and the open end down on the bottom. And then you'll have your pattern from then on out. As long as you keep this piece you cut off, and you can measure it, like this one's a little over 3, it's about 3 3/4. But if you just keep it in with your, put it in a little bag and say, you know, what it is, you'll always know. If you put this up against the pipe cleaner, you just cut there and it's perfect. So that's why I do it that way. And then when it's done, you'll see all the strings. You're just going to get back there and you're going to pull all your strings off and dispose of those. If you got any glop on there, you're just going to take your scissors and go in there and trim it off. Honestly, it's a handcrafted item. It's not fine jewelry, so you don't have to worry if it's not perfect. Of course, you know me, I like things to look nice. So I'm going to do my best to make sure, even if it's just something I give somebody with some cookies, I'm going to try to trim off the clops of glue and make it look as nice as possible. I'd probably get in there and trim some of that out. But for right now, what I would do is, if you're going to make a bunch of them, let them sit and dry upside down like this until it's completely dry, so you don't burn your fingers. And then you're going to figure out what bow you want and where you want to put it. Now you can use thick ribbon. That's what a thick ribbon would look like. Okay. You can use a very thin ribbon like that. Or just kind of an in-between ribbon like this. I prefer green, but the only 2 greens I have right now, and this is actually in a Christmas ribbon. It actually has a Christmas motif on the spool, but this is actually a Christmas ribbon. I prefer dark green, but I'm just not confident enough on pom-poms. Now on my tri-bead pieces, I use ribbon this size. But on the pom-poms, I'm worried that I would not get a small enough dot. The dot would get smeared in the pom-pom. So I'm going to go for something like this, or I thought I had I have a gold bow here, see? I like this right here. I'm going to set that one right on there. So you're just going to take and put a dot, and there's no right or wrong, wherever you like it. The bows can be used for several reasons. You can use a bow just simply because you like it there. Okay? You can use a bow because, oops, I made a mistake. Let's cover it with the bow. But the bows can go in any location on them. My very first one, I put the bow on the top like this. And my husband asked me, why did you do that? You normally put the bow on the side. I said, that's because I had a flat pom-pom. It didn't look right. So I hid it. So you can do that. And that one's a little bit on the top too. But normally, I like to put the bow on the side like this. And once it's dry, once it's completely dry, then you can figure out where you want your pin back. Now, can you put it across the top? You can. And I did that on this one, but it's hard because it peeks out just a little bit. Just a little bit. You can see it when you're looking at it. You see? It's showing. So I would recommend you put the pin back. And I always put the pin down so it's easier to put on. So figure out where you want it. And then just put a little bead of glue. And you put your pin back on. Now please be careful not to burn yourself. You're just going to stick it on there. And the glue is going to come up between the dots. And then you're going to take the glue gun and kind of smear, add just a drop and smear that across the holes. You're not going to add a ton, but just a little bit. You want to see a tiny little mound there. That way you'll know it holds on. The very first pin that was ever bought from me was bought from my mother-in-law. It was a tri-bead pin, and all they did was put it on and set the pin on there. Well, the pin fell off, and I said I can make something like that. And when I did it, I made sure to put that little bit extra glue, and I very rarely have, and especially on the pipe cleaners. Tri-beads, it's a little easier, but on the pipe cleaners, I very rarely ever have it come off. But there you go. There's your little pin. And they're so cute. These are perfect to put on a package for someone as a, just a little decoration. And if you decide you would rather have it as an ornament, you can take a little piece of gold cord, and this is just comes at the hobby store, plastic canvas cord, just a pretty gold cord. And I just threw you on the ground. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Alright, sorry about that. I literally knocked the camera down. You tie it into a knot like that. Make sure it's still recording. It looks like it is. That's a newbie. I have never done that before. I cut the trim off the bottom. This stuff frays really bad. So what you might want to do is just put a tiny dot of glue on the bottom of it like that. And then you can glue it on the back of the ornament. And I would say probably just right about here, you can put a little dot of glue and set that little knot right in there. Like that. And let it dry. I shouldn't have touched that little part I fixed before I put it on there, but I'll trim it. And then you have a little ornament. And you can you give it as an ornament instead of a pin. So, apologize about throwing the camera on the table. That has never happened. I guess I was trying so hard to angle it so you could see that I had it tippy. So now I have the legs a little wider apart so it shouldn't fall again. But anyway, they're perfect as ornaments, and there's just something so rich and pretty about them. I like the tinsel pom-poms, but could you do this with normal pom-poms? Absolutely. You absolutely could make these with regular pom-poms. I like sequins, I like glitter, I like anything sparkly. So, of course, I like the glittery ones, and they have the tinsel on them. but you could absolutely do it with regular pom-poms. You could even add your own glitter if you wanted, but I don't know how good that would really look. But anyway, and then when you're done, just go through and trim all these little loose strings. And I highly recommend a pair of little detail scissors, and I got an extra pair here to show you. These are what I use, and they're nano tip for detail work, and these are Singer. I don't think they're that much, maybe $5 or $6. I already had a pair. I had a pink pair, but they're kind of worn out. I think I started my channel with these. And then my son bought me every kind of sewing scissor you could buy. And he bought me another pair, so that's great, because then I'll have a spare when the day comes that mine wear out. But this is what I use. This is what this pair of scissors is. And they're Singer brand. And this is my third pair. And I'm going to see if I can sharpen these, because they're still good, but cutting ribbon, they just don't do as good a job. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this project. I'm going to show you another close-up view of what I did. And I've got plenty of other videos coming up, lots of fun stuff. Now this one is a little different because I used one that had a iridescent tinsel where the rest have silver. Those are harder to find, but when you can find them, they're absolutely beautiful. I don't know if you can see it on camera. The red has red tinsel, but the white has an iridescent clear. And it's just stunning. But the silver is really nice too. So anyway, a fun little project. But I'll be back soon. I've got so many. I've got like 12 projects to do for you guys. I'm just trying to get all set up. So hope you enjoyed this, and I'll be back soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.